Oh, okay. All right. I forgot where we left off because we had a little technical difficulty.
Oh, about the book and the law and things like that. Or if I one day write an autobiography or something. It's something to consider.
Did we just during our little break? You mentioned about my brother.
Yes.
You know, I think I did mention to you that I did lose him at 9/11.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Well, that was a traumatic incident when the planes crashed into the World Trade Center and things like that. I was, that day, I still recall it vividly, I was in my cell. I had the morning off for one reason or another, and I was listening to the radio, the CBS AM station out of New York City, which comes in loud and clear, and I heard a report of a plane hitting a building, and the first thought it was maybe a small plane, one of those sightseeing planes. Somehow the pilot lost his way and hit the building. But the story now, things quickly escalated, and of course a major tragedy unfolded. But I remember when this began to happen, the officers in the cell block, got wind of this, and they turned on the TVs, and all of the inmates, including myself, we were in front of our cells, looking down at the TVs in the day room, and it just seemed so unreal. I remember praying fervently about what was happening, and asking God for help in the situation, help those people that are in those buildings, and I also had a visit that day. So when I went down to the visiting room, they have a TV in the visiting room that they used on the weekends to show for kids to watch cartoons to keep them occupied. But they had turned on the CNN news, so my visit and we watched almost that whole thing unfold live on television. And even the inmates here, the atmosphere changed for quite a while. Men had gotten more contemplative, and a number of guys were gathering in the church to pray for the victims and things like that. I didn't know that you had lost a brother in the World Trade Center.
Yeah, he was in the second building in the South Tower.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It was a horrible experience, but...
But I did happen to go to the library here, and ironically they had a book that was published by the New York Times about the portraits of all of the people who passed away, and I saw your brother's picture and the small biography they had about him. Wow, that's...
Right, you didn't know him.
No, I didn't know him.
He didn't hang out with us down at the...
Yeah, I didn't know him, and I guess he was a little older, right?
Yes, yeah, he went to... Baruch. He went to with Clinton, and then he went to Baruch. Where'd you go?
I graduated from Columbus High School.
Okay.
Christopher Columbus.
That's right.
Yeah, Astor Avenue in the Bronx.
Sure,
yeah.
That's right. So I know that quite well. Actually, my wife graduated from there.
And I was very fortunate because originally they were going to send me to Evander Childs, which the school was a little rougher, but I managed to luck out and get to Columbus. And back then, that part of the Bronx was still pretty decent. In fact, just a couple of years ago, I was reading an article in the paper, I think it was in the New York Times, about the schools in New York City, and Christopher Columbus had a very high rate of violence and problems. It was considered a problematic school, and I'm shaking my head in disbelief. I'm saying, what? I mean, this shows you how dramatically things have changed in neighborhoods that we knew from the past,
That's right. And it's interesting in your book, Son of Hope, you talk about you've been here 30 years and you feel like you're still living in the 70s.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Have you ever used a computer?
No, that's one of the things about prison life is that I tried to convey in my writings is that when you're here, it's almost like time stops. And the world, goes on without you, including the technology, because I came to, I was arrested in 1977, and I was incarcerated ever since. So that means, I've never owned a personal computer. I don't even know how to work one. I've never used a cell phone, a CD player, a DVD player, iPods, these Apple things. I haven't even used the metric card. I mean, I'm technologically illiterate. Even the typewriter I have where I type my letters on and I type my journal on is just an old-fashioned, it's an electric typewriter, but it has no special real features. It's one of those old electric typewriters. I don't think people use these anymore. They went out in like the 1980s or something, you know.
Like a Royal typewriter?
Oh, no, it's
Smith Corona?
well, it's similar to that, yeah, similar to that, but, you know, so like, I mean, I'm like really lost when it comes to technology. I wouldn't even know anything about driving a car now and computers and, you know, it's, yeah.
So what happens to inmates who are here for, say, 25 years, 30 years, and they get out?
Yeah, well, that's you know, Dan, that's a good question, because that's one of the difficulties of getting out of prison after so long a time is that, you know, you find the world has passed you by. You have to start learning things all over again from scratch, because you say, you know, it's all different. Yeah.
So if you were running the correctional facilities, would you change things?
Well, I would actually, if I had the money and the resources, I would definitely, you know, personally, I would try to make the things more modern, so that men that are getting out of prison, you know, they have an idea how to work certain things, and you know, what's available out there, you know, that you will need to kind of survive on. I mean, back then, like for example, applying for a job, when you'll get out of prison, they're going to want you to have a job. Now, I remember when you had to you go to a place, you had to get a job application, you had to fill out a resume, everything was done in longhand. But nowadays I hear that people fill out their resumes on computer and just zip it right back to, I mean, it would be like, you know, I would have to painstakingly go from place to place, knock on every door, you know, no, we don't want help, we don't, and travel, maybe go for months without finding any work, where nowadays people, if they don't have their computers at home, they could just, you know, do all their stuff right from their own house. It's kind of like mind-boggling. I'm living in a different era, you know, a different century almost. Yeah.
That's certainly true. I mean, technology has advanced incredibly. I mean, kids today, 10-year-olds know more about computers than most adults.
Oh, that's good for them. I'm, you know, I wish I had a computer. I do a lot with it, you know.